International Women's Day is a day set aside to reflect on progress made, to call for change, and to celebrate acts of courage and determination by ordinary women. ECOWAS Parliament joined the international community in observing International Women's Day, as it also served as an opportunity to celebrate the contributions of women to parliamentary activities.
The Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Sidi Mohammed Tunis, the second Honorable Speaker, the fourth Deputy Speaker of ECOWAS Parliament, Madam Pinto, honorable members here present, the Secretary General of ECOWAS Parliament, our wonderful directors in the House, distinguished Amazons, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this very auspicious occasion, the 5th anniversary of EcoPol Amazons, and we're also commemorating the 2021 International Women's Day. Mr. Speaker, the need for a female staff forum was inspired by some of our very wonderful female staff who may not wish to be mentioned. It is indeed quite motivating to see that the World Trade Organization, sorry, Mr. Speaker, this is to increase cohesion and mentorship while also reaching out to empower identified needy groups. We have been able to establish strong relationships with our sister institutions. The ladies in other institutions have been able to organize programs with us, especially during the previous International World Celebration Days. There has been joint celebrations, and we have been fully supported by the Parliament. The Parliament has generously donated, towards the success of all the previous occasions. And even at this moment, the Parliament has also supported us. And we want to show our gratitude to the Honorable Speaker. Indeed, this year's celebration is particularly significant as a year of readjustment. And this is coming after the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has left in its wake and trail the loss of lives across the globe. You will therefore agree with me that celebrating today is indeed a privilege and a blessing, and our thoughts are also with those who lost their loved ones, and we also lost some colleagues, and we pray that God will accept their souls. Amen. Now, the theme of this year's 2021 International Women's Day is Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World. I want to give you a quote by Michelle Obama, the former First Lady of the United States of America. She said, "There is no limit to what a woman can accomplish." Women are very multitasking. I'm sure you agree with me that women are magic. I want to add that women possess strong magic that can change the world. A woman is everything in the home, in the office, in the world. Without the women, there is no world. And that is why God felt it was necessary to give women as a helpmate to the men. We complete the men. So I want you to give a clap to every woman in your life. We have been asked to choose to challenge. If you go to the UN site, for the International Women's Day. We have been asked to choose to challenge. Now, we can all choose to challenge and call out gender bias and inequality. We can all choose to seek out and celebrate women's achievements. There are several women who have been placed in several, management positions, and they are doing so well. I was so impressed about the President of New Zealand. In fact, they said among the world, she ranks first because she has taken the lead in leadership, and that is a woman. Today we are celebrating, we can all help to create an inclusive world. Women are very important. I want you to challenge, to bring the world to a better place. There is this saying that challenge brings change. You want to change, then challenge the situation. So let's choose to challenge. And it is indeed quite motivating to see that the World Trade Organization has recently set the pace in shaping a more equal future by the confirmation of our own dear very Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as the Director General of the World Trade Organization. That is one feat that encourages women that we can get anywhere we wish. This and many more acts of its kind will encourage women to make tremendous efforts around the world to come out and assume positions of leadership and help make important decisions that will ensure that the world recovers fast from the devastations of COVID-19 pandemic. This will in no small measure tip the balance in a male-dominated world. We are going to intensify collaborations with other women organizations in the West Africa region in our effort to safeguard the rights of women and the child, and that will be with your support and the support of the Parliament. Presently, as a buffer to the devastations of COVID-19 in the West Africa region, we wish to extend humanitarian gestures to the less privileged around us, part of which is our planned visit to Anawim, poorest of the poor orphanage in Gwagwalada. Unfortunately, that visit will not take place today due to logistics reasons. We are going to have that visit on Friday by the grace of God. Now, our planned humanitarian gestures also are for the aged. And we also intend to, counsel pregnant teenage girls. You see that some of these girls, once they get pregnant, their families, abandon them, and they are left to suffer on their own. So when we identify homes where some of these, young teenagers are placed, we wish to go there to encourage them, to counsel them, and to let them know that the world is still open for them to achieve whatever they intend to. And that is to be able to build a better and a brighter tomorrow for the less privileged. There will also be school visitations. The EcoPower Amazon, we are coming up and we intend to now make impact. We intend to have school visitations to girls' colleges to be able to mentor the girl child and, role model so that they can know that it's not difficult to work in an international organization like ours, that it's not difficult to reach the world. It will surely gladden our hearts to have your support. And now I'm addressing our men folk. It will be very, very good to have you help us to achieve all our aforementioned goals either in cash or kind. We are very open to your support. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, Ecowas Amazons, EcoPower Amazons, choose to challenge everyone to observe the COVID-19 preventive protocols. Don't let us think that everything is over. We're all working towards making sure that it leaves the globe. And so, we want to encourage women to take full and effective role in all areas of life and progress for everyone. Make sure you're doing your best, be your sister's keeper, lift up the hand of the weak ones, and together we'll make the world happen. May I also challenge you to accept the COVID-19 vaccine with all its complexities, as it offers renewed hope for everyone. I want to wish the women happy International Women's Day, and I welcome you to EcoPower Amazon's 5th anniversary celebration. God bless you, and thank you for your attention.
March 8th of every year, we celebrate International Women's Day, a day to acknowledge women's rights for equal participation in economic, political, as well as social decision-making. To celebrate the extraordinary accomplishments of women, and also to denounce gender discrimination and gender violence. The theme for this year's celebration, as mentioned by my colleague, Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID World, is a theme that highlights the strides that women have demonstrated through their life, their work, their leadership in governance, diplomacy, and social norm. It demonstrates that women make a difference, not just a small difference, but a big and critical one. Mr. Speaker, as you know, gender equality and women empowerment issues remain a topical mainstay, not just within the sphere of national or regional governance dialogue, but also at the global level. More prevalent than ever before is the idea that humanity is developing at a significant pace and maturing to a level of acknowledgement and acceptance of the prerequisites of a stable society. Equity for all and the creation of an enabling and supporting environment for women of society to express their industrious and creative abilities is what we strive for. There is no doubt that the tremendous constraints and hurdles still exist in some parts of the world. Rules and practices, unsubstantiated beliefs, and many others have been placed in women's way. These could have disruptive effects, especially on the added task of now trying to cope with the uncertainties imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Speaker, whilst the pandemic is causing significant loss of life, creating hardship to the world, women are not only expected, but are called to exhibit their leadership acumen. We will not only continue to be equally performing, we will also be maintaining the leadership role granted to us by divine will. It was not without good reasons that we women were created to enable us carry our own gender and even our male partners from conception and through life, with unrelenting service, combining many roles with propriety and decorum. It is therefore the time for us women to give added strength, with both hands lifting each other with one, whilst protecting others with the other. Mr. Speaker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today, March 8th, was also chosen by the female members of the Ecowas Parliament to establish the EcoPal Amazons. The birth of this organization was triggered by the need to set up a female forum at the workplace that would champion female staff issues and seek for greater opportunities for all Ecowas Parliament female staff members. It became a general consensus that these will be achieved not only through our personal development, but through our service to the Ecowas community and humanity as a whole. 5 years on, Ecowas Amazons still remains or maintains its objectives of inspiring hope and networking with like minds, fostering entrepreneurial spirit amongst its members, as well as providing technical and logistical support where needed. Mr. Speaker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in commemorating a day that celebrates the power of womanhood, I acknowledge the inexhaustible possibilities that EcoPal Amazons could tap on to make a difference in the lives of women and girls within the ECOWAS sub-region. As we celebrate the 2021 Women's Day, I would like to use this opportunity to call on all Amazons to have an added shift of mindset and develop greater self-awareness. You're also advised to branch out and take on new roles and responsibilities and uphold professional social networking to remain afloat, but more importantly, to continue to advance in our chosen careers. At the ECOWAS Parliament, one of the main institutions of the community, women issues are treated by the Standing Committee on Social Affairs, Gender, and Women Empowerment, and through the ECOWAS Female Parliamentarians Association, fondly known as ECOFEPA. The addition of EcoPal Amazons to this existing structure further manifests the space and attention at ECOWAS Parliament that our females enjoy. This is a reality at the Parliament that may not be found in other places. As we therefore continue with our journey towards a more equal future, I have no doubt that the existing regional policies, such as the 2004 ECOWAS Gender Policy and the 2015 Supplementary Act on Equal Rights between Women and Men for Sustainable Development in the region, will be useful in developing newer policies that secure such for women in a COVID-19 world. Mr. Speaker, I thank you, the Bureau members and members of the ECOWAS Parliament, for your unwavering support for women initiatives, as we are seeing today. The Amazons were pleasantly pleased, but not surprised, by the prompt and positive response given to our request. It will go down as the first in the history of the ECOWAS Parliament to have the Honorable Speaker celebrate the International Women's Day with EcoPal Amazons. I also want to applaud our male counterparts at the Parliament for the support, respect, dignity that you've shown and continue to show over the years. I think we'll also give you a round of applause. Mr. Speaker, distinguished guests, at this juncture, it is my singular honor to formally thank you all for making the 2021 International Women's Day a memorable event. I wish all women across the ECOWAS region and the world at large happy Women's Day and happy 5th anniversary to the EcoPal Amazons. Along with our He for She speaker and all our male counterparts, let's celebrate womanhood in a very special way. I thank you all.
Secretary General and staff of ECOWAS Parliament, President and members of EcoPal Amazon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to address you today and lend my humble voice to celebrate the unsung heroines of society, our women who, through dedication, commitment, and enormous energy, are finding courage to take necessary actions to make indelible changes towards the stability of the global community. It can be said that 8 March provides the opportunity annually for the world to take stock of the significant contributions of women of all races and ages. However, with the specific theme of this year's International Women's Day, Women in Leadership Achieve an Equal Future in COVID world paves the way for continued discourse on the outstanding work needed towards achieving systemic and sustainable change on the rights and emancipation of women. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, 2020 was indeed a very challenging and difficult year in the history of the world. With the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic and its disruption to life and social interactions, we as a people, we are forced to accept necessary measures such as border closures that prevented travel and home confinements, with a view to arresting the spread of the deadly virus. Yet, in the midst of these life-changing decisions and challenges, also emerged the very best display of human nature. We found that our women have been standing at the front lines of the COVID-19 crisis from its initial detection. According to the UN, women make up almost 70% of healthcare workforce, caregivers, community organizers worldwide, and as some of the key policymakers in our response efforts. As the world gradually begins to come out of the COVID-19 experience and we seek for a brighter future than our immediate past, it is clear that women must be given an integral role to play in the future we build. As they constitute the greater percentage of healthcare responders, which in turn makes them more susceptible to infections, they must therefore be given the right to safeguard their future through increased representation in leadership and decision-making processes in the healthcare sector. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are now starting to talk about the leadership that women can bring in dealing with and addressing the challenges that await us in a post-COVID-19 world. And in this area, I think that conversations on equality of women in the public space should be driven by the undeniable merit or the value of female contributions to nation building and global stability. Our conversations cannot be about giving equality to women. Rather, they must be conversations that begin from the fact of such equality. We must begin by recognizing that at the moment, we are witnessing the critical role women are playing to providing valuable leadership. We must begin by acknowledging how much different things could have been if women had been seated at the top echelon of decision-making long before now. We must recognize these facts and adjust accordingly. It is soothing to see glimpses of these adjustments already, even on our doorsteps. We can recall the pride for Ecowas and Africans as a whole when the landmark announcement was made recently to give Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala from Nigeria the position of Director General of the World Trade Organization, WTO, at a critical time in the organization's history. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala not only becomes the first African to hold this position, but also the first woman. The WTO, at the time where strong leadership is required, has turned to a woman for guidance. The selection process for the top position of the organization also demonstrated how far women have come in our world today, throwing up a situation not of the last man standing, but of the last woman standing. We should also recall that prior to this appointment at the WTO, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala was at the forefront of Africa's response in mobilizing financial support and resources to combat the global challenges posed by COVID-19. In the United States, the world watched as for the first time in that nation's history, a woman, now Vice President Kamala Harris, emerged to take the position of the second citizen of the United States. This accomplishment made all the more remarkable when you consider her story from childhood to the vice presidency. Again, with this, we see the growing acceptance of leadership qualities that women possess. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, permit me to highlight the Ecowas Parliament's position on women issues, beginning with our strong advocacy and support for increased female participation in lawmaking and parliamentary services. It is because of this political commitment at the highest level that made it possible to adopt in 2003 the ECOWAS Female Parliamentarians Association, commonly known as ECOFEPA. The association provides an opportunity for female parliamentarians to use their collective constitutional mandates to create an enabling environment for women's effective participation in the politics and political process and an increased proportion of women in decision-making levels within the ECOWAS region. Nevertheless, despite the work carried out by ECOWAS Parliament in terms of advocacy and actions for the involvement of women in leadership roles, the region still falls short of recording significant figures. For instance, the most recent available statistics provided by the West African Brief show that women occupy 421 seats in West African parliaments and thus represent only 16.1% of all lawmakers. Furthermore, 12 out of 15 ECOWAS member states are short of the 23.3% world average of women in government. In the region, women occupy, on average, less than 20% of ministerial posts, and of those, they are mostly clustered in the ministries covering women affairs and social issues. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in spite of these facts, we have continued to press forward in playing our role to enhance the appreciation of the importance of women to socio-economic development. Within the ambit of the regional legal texts, Article 63 of the ECOWAS Treaty on Women and Development calls on the member states to formulate, harmonize, coordinate, and establish appropriate policies and mechanisms for the enhancement of the economic, social, and cultural conditions of women. ECOWAS also adopted the Gender and Trade Plan of Action 2015 to 2020, which aims to increase women's productive capacity and export competitiveness and to promote gender-sensitive trade policy development and implementation among member states. The theme for this year's International Women's Day seeks to encompass in one statement the idea that the world must and has now come to embrace the necessity for women's full and effective participation and decision-making in public life. This theme also captures with it the understanding that clearly calls for women's right to decision-making in all areas of life, equal pay, equal sharing of unpaid care and domestic work, as well as the development of healthcare services that respond to their needs. I salute the courage that has brought our women this far in a quest for true equality in the workplace and in public space. I salute the female capacity for dedication, steadfastness, and quiet resolve. I urge us as a society to build on the momentum of our predecessors in strengthening women's leadership and promoting their active participation in local, national, and international decision-making processes in order to attain good governance. I salute every woman everywhere in the world today, as the world today acknowledges you. Happy Women's Day.
What is happening now is that we have laws, but we're not used in Nigeria to testing them. Most of the laws have not been tested. And we decided to put together the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill, which would have been an all-encompassing law that would ensure that all spheres of interaction for our gender would be taken care of. However, we've not been able to pass it. Whether you like it or not, the pandemic has thrown open gender inequality in the whole world. If you saw the way it was handled, our gender was taken out of the whole scene, and we had little or no contribution to the management of it. However, at the forefront, we were the caregivers. Women made up 60% of the people who gave care and who ensured that the home front was properly taken care of when COVID happened. And you see, it throws open this challenge, which is why I believe today the International Women's Day is talking about gender parity and how to challenge the issue of this disparity. And I believe we must keep it warm, keep discussing it, so that we find a way forward. But in Nigeria, the way forward for us is definitely legislation. If we have a legislation that we can always test, then we will be on a better footing than where we are today. But we need a lot of advocacy, we need a lot of encouragement for the women, we need to mentor the people coming behind, we need to ensure that every girl gets educated. Right now, we have so many women that have done so well, but also the issue of employment is a major setback for all of them. And the minute we start addressing this and getting as more girls into positions of authority as possible, then Nigeria will be a better place.
Okay, from my end here, I'm Lizzie Chiki. I write for other paper. I cover you in the National Assembly. Yes, earlier while we were speaking with the Speaker of the Ecowas Parliament, he made mention of having just 2 women on the Ecowas Parliament. And we want to know the rationale behind this.
Well, I feel like hiding my face. But you see, what happened was in the last parliament, we definitely were more than 2. I believe we had about 4 women from the parliament. However, the decision to take 2 women, to take 1 woman, had been taken before I resumed at the Senate. So what happened was, because I came in and because I had been a member earlier, I was graciously added to the list. It's part of the problem. There are 35 members representing Nigeria. And the minimum we would have expected would have been 6 women, at least to show a little bit of balance, because most of the other states did just that. But I do not know what transpired before that happened, but we've spoken about it, and I believe it won't happen again, because it will be corrected.
Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Lizzie Okoji. I write for the news agency of Nigeria. So even in the Nigerian parliament, we have less women there. So what efforts are women like you actually making to ensure that more women participate in Nigerian politics? Because the more women we have there, the more opportunity we have for more women representation here.
Well, we're doing a bit. In fact, I listened to the chair of Women's Committee in the Senate today, and she talked about the amendment of the Police Act to favor women and several others. But you see, for all of us, it is not about the Senate only. We have an opportunity that is ongoing, the review of the Constitution. What is wrong in all of us coming together, especially in the spirit of what we find across the world today? And we insist that in the review, we want minimum of 20% left purposely for women at the local level, that is local government, at the state level, the House of Assembly, and at least a third left for women in the House of Reps, in the Senate, and of course for us to even have 2 or 3 governors. And I ask, what is wrong in us getting all the deputy governors to be women? And also getting the position of female vice president. I believe that is the way to deliberately bring women into governance. If we don't do it now, the people coming behind us will suffer. And we must pave the way for them. The only way to pave the way for them is to ensure that the institutions take cognizance of our number. 55% is no mean deal. In a nation that is 100%, if you score 55, then you have done well. We're 55% of this population, and somebody must deliberately cater for us. When it's time for appointments, we must ask that at least 40% must be kept for women. We have women who can fit the bill anywhere. But beyond it all, we must mentor the people coming behind. We must ensure they get good education. And we must ensure they believe in what we're talking about. Because the first problem is the lack of conviction by all of us. We must be convinced that we need it, that the country needs it, and that development will be faster and better if women are on board.
High point of the event was the music performance by guest artists and cutting of the cake. The day is commemorated annually on the 8th of March for women who have played an extraordinary role in the world.